Right, so welcome back. Today I'll be showing you how you can take your super boring piano melodies and turn them into something you really can just relax and study to 24/7, you know? So I started off with this basic piano. We can see over here, it's just a really basic chord progression and then a little melody over there and some higher notes. I literally just opened up FL keys and chose the first one, but now with these effects we'll turn it into this. So the first thing I did, I took our basic piano, then made it unique and brought it to number 6, our 6th insert. So the first effect I loaded up here is MGF Time Warp. So what this one does, I'll play that for you now with it on. So it pretty much creates a sort of LFO and it detunes it also a little bit. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different options here for the LFO pattern, and then you got a second one down here. So what you can do, you can move around this frequency. I'll just play with the knobs, and I'll play with the knobs now for you. The main effect though, the main knob here is this amount. So I'll start down here. And then this smooth, it sort of determines how harsh this triangle wave is. It like flattens it out sort of. And then you got the same down here pretty much. And then these two, type 1, type 2, give type 2 a go. Now I'm not too sure what those two do really, I haven't found an in-depth guide, but type 2 seems to make it a bit louder, and then I couldn't really find a difference between normal and high, but I'm sure that'd be more prevalent if I changed some different knobs and stuff. So that's our first effect, MGF Time Warp. Now before I opened our second effect, I did turn effect number 1, our MGF Time Warp, down to 24%. Because I knew that this next one, vinyl, would definitely impact our overall result pretty heavily. So this is the new Izotope vinyl. The old one looks like this. Now I like the old interface a bit better, but that's fine, because this vinyl's got some nice presets. So I chose 1950, but there's 2000, 1989, 70, 1960, 1950, 1930. Guess I don't like the 40s. But what I did, I turned the dust gain all the way down, because that dust will play throughout the whole track. And I mean, if you've got a whole lo-fi track, that's fine. But I just don't like working with it. Even when it's paused, it plays, so it's just a bit, I don't know. Then I came up here to this knob, mono on. So it was fully separated, now I've made it mono. And then I a bit later I'd add some more effects to take it out of mono again. But that just creates a more centered, one-dimensional sort of sample. And then I chose 1950 and then turn the warp up to 41%. This warp is also another sort of detune. So that works pretty well. And this lo-fi knob, that's also an option. I don't like it too much, but personal preference. So now I play Effect 1 and Effect 2 together. So definitely already feeling a lot more lo-fi-esque. Now come to 2000 and show you what that's like. I think these lower presets just bring out the mids and the highs a bit more. But once you go from 60 to 50, I think that's where you can really notice the lows getting cut out. So I'll give that a go. So I'm not sure if you can tell that much of a difference, but you can probably see on a graph somewhere. But that's it for our second plugin. Now we'll go to number 3. Our third and final plugin for creating crazy lo-fi samples is MPC Degrade. This is a bit reducer, not a bit crusher, so I'll play it for you now. So when you export a track, you choose the sample rate, and what this is doing pretty much is purposely lowering it while it's playing. So it's just making a worse quality, more like hissing, more really sharp tones that you don't really want to hear. But of course that's part of the aesthetic, so we've got to have those. These knobs here don't really matter too much. This quant one does. That's pretty much the quality of how destroyed you want it to be. And this rate is a bit more fine-tuned version of this quant knob. And the output, it determines how much of the MPC Degrade you want to impact the sample. So it also does double as a volume knob because of how heavily MPC Degrade does impact the actual sample. So that is about it for the effects we've used. Now, there are 2 more effects down here you might have noticed. We've got a little EQ and a reverb. So what I did with this EQ, cut out all of the lows, all of the ones that Vinyl missed, and then a lot of the highs. So I'll play it without first. And now with. You can see I sort of left enough fuzz in these sort of pockets, but it wasn't too resonant and wasn't cutting too harsh. But the main sound is still there in this little boost over here. And then I've got a bit of reverb. So what I've done here, basic is the first preset, up the wet a little bit, and then stereo separated at 31%. So back over here in Vinyl where it's gone mono, now because the effects chain goes in order, we've brought back a bit of stereo separation so it is in stereo still. So what I did after that, I brought this sample out here, stretched it, so I stretched it so it's twice its length. So So I was already very happy with how that was sounding, but I decided to chop it up a little bit more, just for a bit of variation. So I decided to cut it in the middle here, then bring that over there, and these two. So it repeats the first bit, and then it goes into the second bit and repeats that. So it goes. Just makes it drag on for a bit longer, and I don't know, I just really like the effect that it's brought out. So that's how you can use these three effects: MGF Time Warp, Izotope Vinyl, and MDA Degrade, to create some crazy lo-fi-esque samples from boring old piano FL key samples. So, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you later.